There I was, standing on Mount Moriah, the wind biting at my face. I held the knife in my trembling hand, questioning why God would ask me to make such a difficult sacrifice. It felt as though my entire world was shattering before me. My thoughts kept drifting back to God's command. How could I possibly do this? Every moment felt like a countdown to losing everything. I'm Abraham. While many know me as the father of faith, my journey included a profound test that revealed the strength of my faith and the depths of God's commitment to us. Years ago, in the wealthy city of Ur, I, Abram, was a rich man with large flocks, many servants, and a prosperous household. But when God called me to leave all my wealth behind and go to an unknown land, Canaan, I obeyed. I left with my wife Sarai and my nephew Lot, trusting in God's promise to make my descendants as numerous as the stars. Originally named Abram, meaning exalted father, my name was changed to Abraham, father of many, when God made a covenant with me, promising that I would become the ancestor of many nations. Even as Sarai, later named Sarah, and I grew old without children, I obeyed and held on to God's promise. At 100 years old, we miraculously had our son, Isaac, a symbol of God's faithfulness. Watching him grow and teaching him about the God who had guided us brought immeasurable joy. One night, under the vast expanse of stars, God's voice came to me with a command that shook me deeply. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. The night stretched on, filled with silent pleas and tears. Why, God? I whispered into the darkness. Why ask me to give up the promise you fulfilled? But the heavens were silent. Despite my turmoil, I couldn't ignore the command. We set off early the next morning. Isaac, full of life and curiosity, knew we were going to make a sacrifice, but didn't know he was to be the offering. He innocently carried the wood for the fire and asked, "Father, where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" His question pierced my heart, but I replied, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." He had no idea of the burden I carried. Each step up that mountain was a step into the unknown, bringing me closer to losing my son. The next day, we reached the summit of Moriah. With tears threatening to overflow, I built the altar, stone by stone. Binding Isaac was the hardest thing I had ever done. His trusting eyes looked up at me, and my heart shattered. As I raised the knife, every part of me screamed in agony. Suddenly, a voice pierced through the air, urgent and commanding. "Abraham! Abraham!" I froze, barely able to believe what I was hearing. "Here I am," I replied, my voice shaking. The angel of the Lord said, "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." The command to stop brought overwhelming relief, and my trembling hand lowered the knife. In the thicket, a ram appeared, caught by its horns. Tears of gratitude streamed down my face as I untied Isaac and held him close. We offered the ram as a sacrifice, naming that place, "The Lord will provide," for indeed, God had provided in my darkest hour. I realized then that God's test wasn't about taking away, but about proving his ultimate faithfulness. He had spared my son and strengthened my faith. As we descended the mountain, Isaac's hand in mine, I felt a profound sense of peace. God had shown me that even in the darkest moments, His plan is always for our good. Isaac was safe, and the promise of my descendants was more certain than ever. To anyone facing their own trials, know that God is with you. Remember, God's plans are always filled with hope and purpose. Even when the path seems impossible, trust in Him. For He will be with you through every challenge, just as He has been with me. His guidance and strength will sustain you as you face whatever comes your way. Thank you for listening to my story.